Hey, I'm Dave Watkins, Watkins Films. Now would be a good time to go ahead and like my video, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, Watkins Films. And also, I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can purchase the film I'm about to talk about through my Amazon affiliate link, and it might give me a little bit of a kickback. I don't know. We'll see. Today we're going to talk about a new 4K UHD release of a fantastic Criterion Collection release of Double Indemnity. Now this is a 1944 film noir, and it is one of the original film noir movies, and it's kind of the one that set the standard for all the ones that came after it. So this film is directed by Billy Wilder, who was a famous director and writer. And he was known for movies like Some Like It Hot and Stalag 17, as well as The Apartment. Now, The Apartment also co-stars Fred McMurphy, who stars in Double Indemnity. Billy Wilder also is probably most well known for Sunset Boulevard, and here's the copy that I don't have. I don't have a copy of it. Maybe I should get one. I'm not even sure if they have a 4K release of it at this point. But they do have a 4K release of Double Indemnity, and it looks pretty damn good. Now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the plot. Now this was made in 1944. The Hays Production Code was still being enforced. And this was based on a book, and they had to do some changes to the film from the book to get around the production code, which, you know, production code always requires for any criminals to be punished. And they also, there's certain things within the code that you couldn't show, whether it be violence or suicides, I believe. But now the production code added a lot of challenges for writers. It was very frustrating, especially with this particular story, which we'll get into the story here in just a minute. But it was very difficult to get around it for the writers, and several writers didn't even want to mess with it because they were like, it's never going to pass. The production code in itself, it was designed to just so people wouldn't watch a film like this and think that they could get away with crimes. People in 1944 were more influenced by films than people would be today. They're more used to seeing stuff on screen, especially after in the 70s when the production code ended and they were able to show whatever they wanted to for the most part for a while. Now kids today are more influenced by things like video games and things of that nature and YouTube videos, but probably like a movie, they at this point wouldn't be as influenced by it as they were back in this time. So even though the production code was annoying, it did have, I mean, it was there kind of for a reason. And really it helped some of the writers make some fairly creative choices on how to get around some of the things. And looking at, I was reading about some of the things that they had to change in this from the original story, and I think everything that I've read that they had to change actually improves the film in this instance. Not always, but here it definitely helped because they had to make some creative changes that weren't in the book. Because in the book, the writer could do whatever he wanted to, but not in the film. So this film stars Fred McMurphy, Barbara Stanwyck, and Edward G. Robinson. Fred McMurphy before this, he was known for kind of his slapstick comedies, and they had a hard time finding an actor for his part here. I guess because of the subject matter, they offered it to most of the more serious actors at the right age range at that point. Fred McMurphy did initially turn this down as well. He was worried he wasn't a good enough actor to pull the part off, but Billy Wilder convinced him to do the film, and it was really the film that he's probably most well known for at this point, and he even said he thought it was probably his best movie. So let's get into the plot. Now here, Fred McMurphy plays an insurance agent named Walter Neff, and he goes to a house where the housewife is at home, the husband's not. She plays a character named Phyllis Dietrich's son, I believe that's how you pronounce it, who Fred McMurphy's character comes there to update her husband's auto insurance. But she starts to flirt with him, and he flirts with her back. I guess he's kind of gone through this a little bit before, and he's apparently attracted to her right away. Right when he first walks in the door, he sees her up on the staircase, and it kind of immediately he is kind of infatuated with her, and then he finds out pretty soon after that she has the idea, since he's an insurance salesman, to she asks him some questions about life insurance. Quickly figures out that she's wanting to have her husband killed or kill her husband in a way so she is able to collect the life insurance money. So after he figures out what she's doing, he tries to get away from her, and he tells her he doesn't want to be involved with it. And he goes, but later on she shows up at his apartment, and at that point he starts to come up with a scheme to not only get the insurance money. He comes up with an accident. There's also a clause called a double indemnity that he's aware of, that if in certain rare circumstances, if they, if someone dies in a certain rare circumstance, then the insurance money is doubled. And so he kind of he wants to go for that big amount. So him coming up with that idea on his own, it starts to make him think he's more in charge of the whole thing. And so it's kind of his drive. He becomes very obsessed with, because she'd be all right probably with just getting the regular life insurance. She don't really need it to be doubled. But since he came up with this idea, he really pushes for it. So as you can see, this is a very dark subject matter. It's been done a lot of other times since, in films like Body Heat. And I watched a film the other day, which I'm probably going to do a review on, Frank Darabont's Buried Alive, which is kind of, this is not nearly as good of a film, but it's a similar type of concept. It's kind of laid the groundwork for that type of concept, and also laid the groundwork for these dark film noir stories in general. Now, Edward G. Robinson has a supporting part here. He is billed as one of the three main characters, and this is probably the first time he took a kind of a character part, even though he does receive kind of top billing in the film. And I really like what he does here. He actually plays a good guy in this one. A lot of times he plays like the mobster, like the bad guy, the good, bad mobster. So here Edward G. Robinson plays Fred McMurphy's character's boss and his mentor. And Edward G. Robinson's character is very good at his job. He's very, very good at picking out kind of criminals in this area. And scammers, people who are trying to scam the insurance company. He's really good at it. He's a little... because he is such, he almost considers Fred McMurphy's Walter character. He considers him kind of like a son in a way. So he's a little bit. He's got his blinders on because of that. But he does eventually become more suspicious, and he's a little bit of a problem. And he comes around asking questions and just trying to figure out things. And he gets pretty close to figuring the whole thing out. And it's a very good performance by Edward G. Robinson, a very different performance than if you've seen him in other stuff. And I really like what he does in general. Okay, now let's take a quick look at the packaging here. It's just a kind of standard Criterion packaging. I did take the sticker from the plastic and I put it on the front of the cover here. On the inside of it, you have a booklet. Here's the 4K disc. And there's also a Blu-ray disc, and there's a second Blu-ray disc that has the special features on it. So it's a 3-disc set. It's pretty impressive. A little bit about the transfer. So the transfer is a new 4K digital restoration with uncompressed soundtrack. It says one 4K UHD disc is presented in Dolby HDR and 2 Blu-rays with the film and special features. Now, this is the first time I've ever seen this film, but I thought it looked terrific. I didn't see any problems with the master. I thought the black levels looked very nice. The clarity was there, and you can see the details pretty good. So I'm not going to dip too far into talking about the transfer, but I thought it looked, as far as I know, it looked terrific. I didn't see any real issues. I'm going to go ahead and rate the film. I'm going to give it a 4.5 stars. I thought this is a terrific film. The acting is really good. I think Fred McMurphy was really well cast here against type, which I really like it when that happens in general. And Barbara Stanwyck is kind of your classic femme fatale. The dialogue is terrific. The script is dynamite. I think the lighting and the film noir atmosphere, it's all there, and the cinematography throughout the film, very impressive, and it's one of the first of its kind, and one of the best of its kind. So that's about it. I highly recommend taking a look at this film if you've never seen it. It's fantastic. I'm Dave Watkins. If you haven't done so already, if you go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.